you as friends and family and neighbors. We're grateful to have you here. We're going to begin with a little prayer offered by one of Molly's co-workers, Iona Stamps. So if you would perform that now.
Our Father in heaven, as we humbly begin this remembrance of Molly and to honor her and her family, we are grateful to be gathered here, to be full of wonderful memories and happy times. We thank you, dear Father, for the comfort of knowing that Molly has just graduated. She has not left us forever. We thank thee, Father, for the love that thou hast showered down upon her family, and pray that thou will continue to watch and care for them. We thank thee for this gathering. Thank thee for those who have put all their time and effort into this, and pray that the participants will be able to remember what they have prepared and to share with love and laughter. And we humbly pray for these blessings in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Now we have a real treat in store for you, and we're going to begin with Uncle Pat, who most of you know is Patrick Falcons.
Thank you, Dr. Bowman. I am Molly's oldest brother. We had two other siblings. Our brother Bill, who passed away in 2002, and her twin, Michael. And Michael became ill just shortly after Molly had her stroke, and lives in San Diego and with his wife, and is under hospice care, so can't be here today, unfortunately. We also had a cousin who came to live with us when Molly and Mike were less than a year old. My parents raised her, and she passed in September of this year. Her husband, Dutch, she and her husband, Dutch, became fantastic friends of Larry and Molly and our entire family. And he can't be here. He's 97, but his son and grandson are here. As is one of my brother Bill's son is also here, and you'll hear from shortly. Mike and Molly, as twins often are, were very close and very protective. Molly first being protective of Mike. She was always taller. I think you can look up there in her first birthday cake or second. She looked a half a head taller then, and seemed like until they were in high school she was a full head taller. So she was always his protector. And in kindergarten, they were in the same school I was in, and our brother Bill. And it was shortly after the first days of school in September, I could hear two kids crying down the kindergarten classroom, what I thought was a classroom, but I could distinctly hear the name Molly and Mike, and they were calling each other. So I looked at my teacher, and she knew I had twin brother and sister in kindergarten. She sent me down the hall to see if I could help calm them down. I did, and discovered that Molly was doing all Mike's work in those first few days. And so they, instead of telling my mom that, they just separated them. Well, my mom showed up at noon to pick the kids up and twins up and straighten that out. And there was many promises that Molly would not do Mike's work anymore, but I know she was still doing his homework in high school. You know, though, as they got older and in high school, Mike was Molly's protector, and still, even after her stroke, still assisted all he could. excuse me, 1948, we lost our dad, and so our mom had to work 6 nights a week, so we were very much on our own. The boys, we all got sold papers and paper routes. For Molly, it was a little more difficult. She couldn't find a job as quickly as we could, except in the home or babysitting. So she and Mike, they became a pair. That maybe they wouldn't let girls deliver papers, but nobody stopped her from being Mike's assistant. And she helped collect, she helped deliver, she helped sell subscriptions. Her first real job was in Santa's Village with our mom. And you saw her Santa's Village elf beanie back there. There she met her husband Larry and my future wife Sheila and a future Eureka Humboldt County citizen who you'll hear from later, Bill Hansel. As many, if not most of you know, Molly spent 40 years with the dental profession in Eureka. And we'll hear from some of you later. Sports, Molly was great in sports. Again, most of you know, she played women's slow pitch softball for 30 years, still played at 60. I don't know if she had a designated runner at first because of her knees. She actually learned to play sports originally with her brothers. We lived on a little dead-end street, and we played a lot of street football. And frequently we were a short player, so Molly was our designated center for both teams. And if you knocked Molly down, you were in trouble with her brothers. And I really think Molly knocked more boys down than she ever got knocked down. She lived in high school at Santa Cruz High. She played volleyball, basketball, and softball. Some people have heard about Molly's Clorox fetish. She always cleaned. Very young, our mom had her running the vacuum. I had her running the vacuum for my special teenage parties. So I'd send her brother Bill, her twin Mike, and she to the movies, which was a few blocks from our house. Bill and I would invite all our teenage friends, probably boys and girls, and they'd show up sometime after 9. Molly turned all the lights on, turned the vacuum on, because she was in charge of getting the house back in order before my mom came home from work and discovered we had this big party. So, and she did that very well. She was always very thoughtful, later became a caregiver, so part of her thoughtfulness, just after I was sent overseas for 14 months, Sheila Gregg, my wife now, my fiance then, graduated from high school, went to work in San Jose, and Molly and lived with my parents at Santa Cruz. Sheila roomed in a house where she rented a room from someone. She was lonesome, and Molly invited her to share a bedroom for a whole year. My problem is I'm looking at my daughters. Molly's caregiving started with Dutch. Dutch was married to Donna. She was our cousin that I spoke about. Dutch got in a bad bicycle accident, needed help. His wife was working 12 hours a day, and she couldn't. His children were grown. And so Molly came to his rescue, took care of him. She and Larry also liked to go there once Dutch and Donna were healthy. It's known as the Vogel Vacation Villa. Beautiful backyard swimming pool and a yard. And Dutch was a great host and did all the work. Molly was a caregiver for my mom and stepfather George. We brought them here approximately 7 years before they both died, and Molly visited them every single day to make sure all their needs were taken care of. When they went to the rest home, she was there to make sure they were being taken care of properly. My brother Bill, who I mentioned that passed in 2002, had a lengthy illness, and she helped as much as she could with him. In fact, shortly, right up to the time Molly had her stroke, Molly was caregiving for a neighbor right near her home. And it's obvious to all or most of you that that tradition is being carried out in the Nichols family because Larry Jr., Lane, and Larry Sr. did a fantastic job helping Molly this 2+ years, and especially her last 10 days at home. And her 22 years of donating blood and platelets at the Humboldt Del Norte Blood Bank, 67 times. That's fantastic. Any of you that have just given blood, as I have, it's amazing when you watch those people sitting over there extracting platelets in 3 hours of laying there. It's just fantastic. And to do that 67 times is heroic. Molly was kind of hippie-ish at times. She wasn't so sure she needed to wear a bra. She wore Birkenstocks before they were hardly popular. She thought it was really funny that she posed her 3-year-old son and her rest of her nephews and nieces, 8 more, 2 of them 11, on a diving board nude. That picture has moved through the Fulkins family ever since that day, which, doing math quickly, must be 43 years ago. And that was at the famous Vogel Vacation Villa. And with that, I would like to introduce my daughter Shirley.
Good morning. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to celebrate Animals. I'm going to try and get through this. It's hard to follow my father. The eldest of 4. We are the Fulkins, Nichols family, Nylanders, Roberts, so on and so forth. Ours, very, very close family. And it's really unique. I think of it as a clan. The 4 siblings, because I think they lost their father, and the 4 siblings and Donna and Dutch were extremely close through thick, thin divorces, lots of wives and ex-wives, and Annie Molly always counted as sisters, always, and made us 10 cousins really close, and it's really special, and I think it's very unique. Annie Molly had a lot to do with that. She was an auntie before she was a mother, and I was an auntie before I was a mother. It's a very special thing when that next generation comes along, and as an auntie, I think it's neat because you get to see it because you're not giving birth. And Annie Molly treated us like her kids. There was 8 of us born before Lair and Lane, and we were her kids, and she did so much for us, and we have so many good memories. Our memories for Molly and I, so my little sister Molly is named after Annie Malls, and our memories are going to Santa Cruz at summer, sometimes in the winter. We'd get there and go to Grandma's house, and Annie Molly come busting in, and then from then on it was cousins and brothers and sisters and wives and cards and smoking and drinking and loud and fun. And we've been repeating that this week. It's been pretty fun. Lots of good memories. Annie Molly was always a huge part of that. She took me as the oldest granddaughter to the Miss California pageant with my other 2 aunts, Annie Bonnie and Annie Barbara, and that was a huge treat. Molly and I used to go down and spend a week with her, and I think we both remember the Cocker Spaniels, Tuppence, and we remember the lemon trees, and we always had a great time, because aunts get to do something a little more than your parents. They get to spoil you a little bit, but they also give you that security, and Auntie Molly always did that for us. She took me on my first ride on my very favorite thing, which is Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk roller coaster, because you used to be able to do that when you were 6, and when I turned 6, she took me on my first ride, and that was amazing. So as I was just talking to Susan Basso, we got to have her in Eureka after a while, when Auntie Molly, Uncle Larry, and the boys moved to Eureka. We got really lucky and got to have her here, and then she really became, again, Auntie Molly and Uncle Larry were like our second parents, and we have great parents, but we always had that security knowing if we didn't have our parents, they would be there for us, and we're so grateful for that. Auntie Molly, as I got older, I realized what a role model she was to me as a strong, professional, athletic woman, very strong mother, and really could combine the combination. And I really think about that a lot. We started sharing books and movies and our love for Barbra Streisand. I'm wondering where that music is, Lara. What's going on here? And she really became a role model. And I'm so thankful as we look back and we see all her crafts. My mom's made me something every year for Christmas since I was little, and it gave me an appreciation for that handmade item that someone puts their whole self into. And Auntie Molly made all of us so many things, quilts, and I pull out Christmas ornaments that she made and all kinds of neat stuff, and that is so wonderful, and it's so neat that Larry's going to give us an opportunity to have a treasure one of her quilts, and I'm just so, so grateful for that. So with that, I would like to introduce our oldest cousin, Bruce. I made it without crying.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for everybody coming to visit. My thoughts could go on for hours because I'm a folk, and just like Auntie Molly, she loved to talk, as we all know. This is a celebration of life and the most kind and amazing woman. She was like my grandmother. She always forgave people. She always saw the best side of my father, or my stepmother's, or my mother's. She was actually more of a mother to me. She always made me German chocolate cake at my birthday. It was just super important that she came into our life, because we were living in San Jose and Concord, and we're in 2nd and 3rd grade, and the games were starting. And she worked in Felton at the dentist office and found a house for us in the mountains. She probably saved my brother and I's lives more than once. Sorry about that. Aunt Molly was the glue in the family, taught us to stick together. She always made us these cards that had our phone numbers, our date of births, and then she'd call me 3 times a year to ask where I was living so she could update everybody. Crafting with my mom, I remember them doing glass wind chimes together. She painted milk cans that were beautiful. Do we still have those around? The one thing I never understood was, what was the round bed about, Uncle Larry? Who's seen a round bed? I remember that bed for years and years, and it ended up at Grandma's house when they moved to Eureka. She called me Brucey, and she was the only one that could call me that. I think it was about 3rd grade when that started. The kids at school giving me a little rough teasing, and I said, my aunt's 5'9", and she's just down the street at the dentist office. She's gonna take care of you. So, my favorite thing was, in my 20s, I'd get off work at midnight, and I would call Aunt Molly, and we'd talk till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Sometimes I was drunk, maybe I'd call her at 2 in the morning, and my wife would be like, what are you doing on the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning? That's Auntie Molly. So we would talk for hours. That's the Fulton's gift to gab. And my heart goes out to little Larry and Lane and everybody in the room, Uncle Larry as well. And just remember, she loved us all. I'd like to introduce Molly's childhood friend, Bill Hansel. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Larry, good to while. Larry and I got into law enforcement many years ago, and our lives have paralleled from Santa Cruz to Humboldt County. It's been quite a ride and a wonderful blessing. To all the members of the Fulkins and the Nichols families, I'm honored to share this moment with you all. My personal feelings for both Molly and Larry run deep, and for many good reasons. I'm blessed and fortunate through circumstances that have grown up in Santa Cruz. Like Molly's family, my father was killed in World War II, so we kind of started out on a rough road. But Mom remarried a number of years later, and we were fortunate to move back to Santa Cruz. And so Santa Cruz, its character has changed dramatically, as many of us realize. But the fond memories that we have of Santa Cruz growing up, particularly amongst members of the greatest generation, as Mr. Brokaw has acknowledged. And he goes on to say that the members of the greatest generation came of age during the Great Depression and the Second World War and went on to build America, men and women whose everyday lives, duty, honor, and courage gave us the world we have today. And I certainly believe that that's true, that the members of the greatest generation, my parents, my grandparents, have really brought us to where we are today. I feel blessed in that growing up in Santa Cruz gave us an opportunity to really succeed. Cabrillo College had been started a number of years before I entered Santa Cruz High School in 1960. That year, in September of 1960, I entered the high school with about 1,000 students, as I recall, and where Molly was one of those students. And I don't remember exactly how I met her, except that I did a lot of shopping at Shoppers Corners, and so I'd run into Pat, and I was good friends of Howard Eddy's that had Ebert's store, so I was kind of in your vicinity of like where you probably used to live. Someone said that in the orchard of opportunity, it's better to pick the fruit than to wait for it to fall. And so once again, I was fortunate through circumstances, and an unusual job opening presented itself. And so I applied at a place called Santa's Village, which was, to say the very least, one of the best jobs, Larry, I ever had. It was totally, completely enjoyable. Now you have to realize that Santa's Village was based upon Santa Claus, and it was sited in about 25 acres of pristine redwood forest, down the hillside, up the other side. It had been a polo grounds years before. It began in 1957, and the area was like something out of a Swiss Valley, beautiful buildings, but these buildings were all A-frames, beautiful log A-frames. There was about 7, 8 of these various A-frames throughout the Santa's Village, plus Santa's house. And Santa's house was at the North Pole, and actually there was a real North Pole. Ice, the whole thing, kids used to go up and lick it. Which, oh right, well, whatever. And what was interesting is that, hope there's no real small kids here, but we all knew Santa Claus. And we knew him very well because I went to school with his daughter, Carl Hansen. Yeah, we all knew Carl Hansen, but the first rule at Santa's Village was, you always called Santa Santa Claus. Even though he came in the back door and got dressed up and came out and did his thing, it was always Santa Claus. But it happened that my mom and stepfather separated my junior year in high school, so my mom sat down with my brothers and I and said, hey, if you want a car and insurance and gasoline, go out and get a job. And so, yes, ma'am, yes, Mom, we'll do that. So, by good fortune, I met Dick Butcher, the manager at the time, and went in and did the paperwork, and got a phone call from Nancy Rice, his secretary. All these names stick in for some reason because it made that big impression. They said I got hired. They said I was Santa's #1 helper. I said, oh, wow, what does that mean? I said, come on in and we'll explain it to you. So they said my general duties were deliveries of sundries and supplies, and I was required to make sure all the restrooms in the Santa's Village were clean and tidy. So I became Santa's janitor. But it became a blessing. It was the place where I met Larry and Molly and all the elves, and I tell my kids I was not an elf, I was a gnome. But all the young ladies wore those uniforms back there, as you see, and a little green hat, and all of the young ladies at the park were gorgeous and beautiful, and they were sweet. But Molly and Larry, they were going together, and she was the sweetest, nicest person that I met at Santa's Village until I met Mrs. Claus. And that was your mom. I found out that during the tour there was an orientation briefly, and so I went around Santa's Village and met everyone. And then I met Mrs. Claus, and lo and behold, it's Molly's mom. So anyway, working at the village ended pretty quickly due to the circumstances that we found ourselves in the United States, and the events around the world quickly motivated us, Larry and myself, really to look at other job opportunities. I went back to Cabrillo College, changed my major, and I jumped into law enforcement. We served together briefly at Capitola. I got hired at the Capitola Police Department, and lo and behold, I turned the corner one time, and there's Larry in his patrol car. Hey, let's go get a cup. So we did what normal cops do. We went out and got a cup of coffee and some donuts at 41st Avenue and Capitola Road. So we spent a couple of weeks there meeting each other for coffee occasionally when we weren't responding to traffic accidents and crime. And Larry, I want to tell you that I appreciated your support and some of the basic advice you gave me. It's incredible to think today at modern police standards that you could hire a police officer, a rookie with 60 units at Cabrillo College, put them on the street, put them to work as a cop, and they haven't even been to a basic police academy. And that was where I was in 1969. Departments at that time, the state law said that the department had a year before they had to send you to a basic police academy. So here I was, didn't know beans about traffic enforcement. So I said, hey Larry, I need to do something. So he told me that his dad was a sergeant at the local office. Go by the office and ask them for advice and maybe get a couple of copies of a traffic accident report. So a picture's worth 1,000 words. So you have a report, and you can see how it's laid out, how they reference various things. So I happened to do that. I had the courage to, as a rookie, to go there and say, hey, I've been to an academy. Can you give me a couple reports? So he gave me 3 reports. I don't know if the guy's report was Jerry Fernstrom. I don't know if you remember Larry. Harry. And that was the report that I used as my template. And for my first year at the Capitola Police Department, and I was green as grass. Nevertheless, things progressed, and lo and behold, I had gotten married, and my wife was from Eureka here, and I got a letter from my father-in-law that briefly said that, hey, can you bring my daughter back and apply at the Eureka Police Department? And so the rest is history. I joined the Eureka Police Department in 1970, and they promptly sent me to the Basic Police Academy, so I could learn how to really do police work. So it's with that in mind that we find ourselves, again, Larry and Molly are back up here, and I had already known Pat, because Pat worked at the Shoppers Corner, and all of a sudden, here's Pat Fulkins up here at the Stop and Shop, right? What was it, Stop? Pete's Market here, and so, oh my gosh, and lo and behold, Larry and Molly show up, and it was quite a surprise, you know, another Santa Cruz, and yeah, all right, that was just great. So once again, our paths crossed. We both moved from Santa Cruz to Humboldt County. That was Eureka PD. And I would see Molly out shopping. I would see her at various venue sites. I would see her at the College of Redwoods. We were both privileged to have worked and taught at the College of Redwoods. And so I'd see her briefly from time to time at the college. And every time that we saw each other, it was like old times. She was Molly, that big smile, that positiveness. It always reminded, each of our brief exchanges reminded us of the good times we had in Santa Cruz. Someone said the difference between failure and success is doing a thing almost right and doing it exactly right. From all I know and all I've read about the life of Molly Nichols, I will remember her wonderful smile, that she accomplished so much and gave so much of herself to others. She did things exactly right. It's been a wonderful time fellowshipping with you and knowing your family and Larry Jr. And every time I see Pat, you know, it just brings me right back to those great times in Santa Cruz. So thank you very much. It's my pleasure now to introduce Molly's dear friend, Sally Fry.
Molly, as many of you, but when I look back, I met Molly over 25 years ago, so I guess there's longer years than I thought. I met Molly through quilting. Quilting was our passion. Quilting was Molly's passion. Quilting was my passion. I've heard so many stories from Molly about her whole family. I feel like I've known all of you. I know Pat and Sheila, and I know Brucey, and I mean, Molly just talks and talks and talks. She just told us everything we knew about her family. So I met Molly about 25 years ago, and I was asked to be in their little mini group. Now, a mini group of quilters, and many of you are here. It's always fun to see all of our old mini group ladies. So I was invited to come, and Molly called me later, and she says, "Now, Sally, you don't automatically get to join our group. There might be a blackball. We have a vote, and if one person says no, you're not in it." And I go, "Oh, Molly, I feel so terrible." So, you know, I stressed for like 2 weeks, worried about getting a blackball. But lo and behold, I was joining, I got to join, and our passion of quilting just grew and grew and grew. We met every Thursday night, and we would quilt and talk, and we mostly talk and eat. Dessert was always the main thing that was, you know, what are we going to have for dessert? And we know many times when we went to Molly's house, Larry was making us a good dessert. Larry always made us something that we all loved. Molly would call, "What do you guys want Larry to make?" So we always had our good orders of what we were going to have to eat. Molly walked around and always had, if you remember, she always had a little bag in her hand, and she always had hand stitching. No matter if she was sitting in the dentist office at her desk, it was hidden underneath, for any of you that don't really remember. And when things weren't too busy at the office, she's just busy stitching away. We all got wonderful quilts for Molly. We would get them together and we'd all make our big quilts. And our big quilts were our big birthdays, 50, 60. We'd all get some big fancy quilt. But what was the best part about that group was the sharing of our families, of our aging parents, of our grandchildren. We just were supportive to each other through all those years. And as the group kind of disbanded and went on about their ways, we were always still in each other's mind and hearts. We would get together and sew at Molly's house. And those that could come after the Thursday night group disbanded, we would sit around and sew and laugh, and Larry would come in and Lane would come in and they'd come and see what we're working on. But the funniest part was Molly would say, quiet, and we'd go, what? And we could hear Larry downstairs making our lunch and humming. And Molly always says, Hummer's busy making our lunch. And we were always so happy because Larry would make us the best lunch. So from there, our group pretty much, we love to travel, we love to shop, we love to go out. And as you talked about Molly and her Clorox fetish, which we all knew we could eat in the driveway because the driveway was totally bleached out every week, along with her sterling silver polished every week. I would look at her and say, you're polishing your sterling silver? Yep, it's Monday, time to polish the silver. But the one thing that I couldn't figure out was why would we walk out of McDonald's? Now, we go to McDonald's for breakfast.
And comfort ourselves even more with realities. And I'd like to share with you, if I could, just 3 scriptures that to me have really helped me during times like this. The first one comes in Luke chapter 23, verse 43. But before I quote the scripture, I want to give you a little background. In this particular instance, the Savior is hanging on the cross with 2 criminals giving his life. Now, you have to understand that he was there by choice. He didn't have to be there. This was the same man who had put on his cloak of invisibility when angry mobs wanted to stone him and throw him off a cliff. This is the same man that healed the lepers and gave sight to the blind and restored those with paralysis. This is the same man that fed 5,000 with just a few fish and a loaf of bread. This hanging on the cross was the same man that brought back to life the daughter of Jairus and his friend Lazarus. This is the same man who was sleeping on a ship that his apostles and friends thought was sinking, and they called him for fear of their life. And with a few words, this man calmed the storm and made it all calm. Yes, this is the man that later walked on water. So there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that instead of hanging there on the cross, he could have dismissed himself and walked away with no pain or agony. But he chose to suffer for you and for me. And that is the case. Now, getting to the scripture, as he hung there, one of the persons that was hung with him was a little sympathetic, realizing the innocence of him. And Jesus said to him, this day thou shalt be with me in paradise. The idea that life goes on after we die. Jesus went to the tomb of his body, but his spirit went to paradise with his malefactor. There's another scripture that verifies this in the book of Peter. When Peter says, for this cause was the gospel preached to them that are dead, that they might live according to God in the spirit, but be judged according to men in the flesh. We live after we die. And finally, probably one of the most rewarding scriptures comes from the book of Corinthians, where Paul is speaking. And he said, for as in Adam all die, so then in Christ shall all be made alive. Now that indicates to me that though our spirits will leave and our bodies rot in the grave, there will be a time when those bodies will come back with both legs, with all of our hair, and with all of our faculties in full view. So the thing that I would just leave with you today, and hope it would give you the comfort that it gives me, is that we don't need to rely on memories of Molly. We will see her and renew friendships and fun times as we have had in the past. This I declare to you with all sincerity, humbly, in the name of the man that promises this great gift of reunion, even Jesus Christ. Amen. These remarks will be concluded by Charles Stantz. He'll give the benediction. And following the benediction, we'll be excused to sit back here and we'll go from there. Is that right? And again, we want to thank each of you that have participated. You've done wonderfully. You filled our hearts with love and joy, and those that have come have felt that as we have shared our own love.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful for this experience to share, remember, and look forward to opportunities which lie. As we leave this experience and move on to be with other family members, those who have given us life, is shared their lives with us. We are grateful for those who have taken part in this opportunity of sharing, for testimonies of our Savior, for testimonies of life which has affected us all, especially for sweet husband, for sons. Grateful for this opportunity to be asked to share this prayer with all of you and with our Father in heaven. I ask for blessings upon this family, that they will always remember and look forward to other experiences as we move on in our earthly and future experiences, to be together as families, to share our love for thee, and to be able to enjoy the great blessing of the risen Savior, Jesus Christ, and offer this prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.